Hey, welcome to this episode of Heim Time. I'm your host, Shannon Heim. I'm here with
Jenn Ross.
And we are going to go through today our second phase of our
All Things Real Estate
podcast. And we're going to be talking about what to look out for as buyers, or why wait or get into the market now. So either jumping into the market now or waiting. What are the pros and cons of that? So without any further ado, we'll jump into the first one, which is home prices are expected to appreciate. So Jen, what do you think about that? Do you think home prices are expected to appreciate?
Well, yes, that is unfortunately what happens. So if we get any kind of break in these rates, that would be great. I just rhymed. Then yes, more buyers will come out of the woodwork because they will want the lower rate. And also that will mean more are able to qualify to buy. And then supply and demand, there will be more that want the house and therefore more competition, and therefore prices may go up.
Yeah, so statistically speaking, we all know, for those that have watched past episodes, if you haven't watched any past episodes, go check those out. But since the 1970s, really when stuff was tracked around home ownership, year over year, do you know what the average appreciation year over year is?
3%.
It was actually 4.5%
Is that here?
Appreciation.
Or is that?
This is nationwide.
Oh,
nationwide. So you've seen some dips and valleys now, right? Like in the 80s, you saw a drop. So depending on what the market's doing, so it's cyclical, right?
That's good though. I thought it was 3. I've been saying 3. I lean lower though. I don't like surprises with money.
Yeah. So if we look at homes appreciation, it may not appreciate, like we had the whole COVID piece. It was we had an explosion of, I think, 22 to 28%, across the country where home values went up. Obviously, that's an anomaly, right? 2008, 2009, 2010, right? We had a huge depression in there, but statistically speaking, overall. So, looking at that, it's all the other factors that are there. If you're in the market and you're looking at that, then prices will appreciate over time, and real estate is a long-term hold. So jumping into that piece.
Right. Depending on your particular situation.
Right. So, there's pros and cons to both.
Right. That information, although true and accurate and certainly proven, and if you haven't watched previous episodes, Shannon is very good at all of the statistics, and we appreciate that about him. I very much do, because that is not my thing. Anyway, so even though that is true, we're sharing this information. However, it's not meant to be something that says, oh my gosh, you better buy now because prices are going to go up. If it's not the right time for you, it's not the right time for you.
Correct. Yep.
And it's not meant to scare you either. And quite honestly, pros and cons, like you said. Sure, if you own a house, it's awesome that our prices are going to go up. If you're trying to get into the market, that hurts my heart, actually. So
yeah, I had a client the other day, came through an open house, and they're like, I said, how long have you guys been looking for houses? And they said, about a year and a half. And his conversation was the interest rates were up, right? And we're going to wait till the interest rates come down. Well, if the interest rate drops 1%, right?
5 million more people come into the market. I knew that one.
5 million more people. That is one there, but also the home value, or the affordability where you can afford, is about 10% more.
Right.
So you have that rush of individuals in, you have a market that goes up, but that also, affects where.
Well, and then other things happen too. Now sellers likely won't contribute to your closing costs. They might not even sweep the floor before they leave. They just walk out, leaving garbage behind. They won't be willing to make repairs. It just gets kind of ugly when they aren't required to do much. Yep. So, and that's worst case scenario. I'm just saying things will change.
Right. And we'll go more into that in one of the next ones here. So kind of wrapping up that one. So the second thing is avoiding increased rent costs, right? So we saw a jump in home values right over the last few years. We've also seen a jump in rental costs as well. So some of the benefits of renting, obviously, is, hey, pick up the phone, something breaks, pick up the phone, somebody else is fixing that, right? I'm paying for that. And if you're in an area like we have a lot of military come in, right, and it's a transient market that we're in, where it's they might be here a year or 2 years, right? That doesn't make sense. But the other side of it is if you are planning on staying in that home 5 years or more, right? You're locking in that your rate, right? You're locking in your payment, your mortgage payment. If home values jump by $100,000 in your neighborhood, your mortgage is still the same, right?
Right.
The only thing that's going to adjust is your taxes, your insurance, which can impact that number. But as far as your principal and interest, you're protected there. So, again, there's pros and cons to renting and or buying, but anything there?
Well, correct. I mean, the rental market, like you said, has also increased, which is hard too. So I'm not really sure. There's a need there for more affordable all the way around. But you are correct. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to purchase. However, rent is going to likely continue to increase in the same way that home prices will as well. And again, it comes back to just your own personal situation and what works best for you. And your needs.
Yeah, and sitting down with somebody, a professional that can walk through both sides of those and say, what is the actual best thing for you?
I mean, we can all do the math. It's not my strong suit, but if you're going to give 3 years worth of rental payments away to someone who owns that house, because every house has an owner. So you're paying their payment, likely, maybe some of it, if not all of it. You could be paying towards your own house.
Yep.
If that's something that is important to you. Certainly money is going to be spent one way or the other because you need a place to live.
Yep. All right. Now that we covered avoiding the increasing rent costs and the pros and cons there, you mentioned this earlier, right? Around less negotiation powers in a less competitive market. So right now, as we record this, we're in a very balanced market, about 5 to 6 months of inventory on the market, and we're sitting at about 1,350 to 1,400 houses in Montgomery County, Tennessee, on the market, which is a very balanced market. One of the interesting things that we have here is most markets, 1/3 of your inventory is about new construction. In our market, it's about I think last look it was like right around 700 houses, so almost half of that inventory. And in a normal market or a balanced market, we're about 2/3 of new construction. So along with that comes some different kind of competition, right? So, seller concessions, and you want to talk a little more about that?
Right. So, as you're kind of alluding to, with new construction, most times builders are offering concessions. They're offering compensation for buyer's agents, which is a whole other piece. They're not, individual sellers selling existing homes. So they typically have a little bit more wiggle room because they've got so many that they're selling in a lot of cases. That changes, though, pretty quickly if more buyers come into the market. We may not get the full closing expenses paid, or I'm hoping, knock on wood, we won't get those that say they won't pay for an agent for a buyer, but things will change, and it'll happen most quickly in the individual sales. So existing home sales, those individual sellers will make the changes first, and then it'll start hitting the new construction. At least that's in my experience, the way that it works. Usually we'll start leaning a little heavy towards our buyers choosing new construction because they are still offering all of the things that the individual sellers,
concessions, incentives, those pieces there. So, that's the difference between a seller's market versus a balanced or buyer's market in our market. So, last piece we'll kind of talk about is starting to build wealth through real estate and the equity in your property, right? So going back to that 4.5% appreciation over time, or year over year, getting into real estate. I had a gentleman I was speaking to the other day. He's like, I haven't seen the prices in Montgomery County where they are kind of compressed a little bit. Yes, your interest rates are up, but you can always refinance that later and get that lower interest rate to correct that issue there. Again, back to the negotiation power, right? We see rate buy downs pretty much on everything right now, right? Which the sellers offering that in concessions or buyers are asking for that in concessions to get that rate down, whether it's for a year, a 2-year term, a 3-year term, or a permanent, right? Or any combination of those pieces there. But then again, you're starting to build that wealth in real estate and having that equity there. Right.
Yes, it comes into, if you're comfortable, if you're able to get into the home and you're comfortable with the payment and certainly what your long-term goals are. If you can do those things, and holding on to real estate is a great thing for your future. Start building generational wealth and what I call playing the long game. You may not be getting, like, if you go to rent it out at some point, you may not be getting monthly benefits. You may only be getting your full payment covered. Hopefully, in some cases, you won't even be able to do that. However, if you play the long game and that 4.5% year after year starts to add up, someone else is paying for your house, and that home is going to continue to grow in value while you are living wherever else you might be living, whether it's down the street or across the country. That home is still appreciating. So,
and
that's exciting. That's the exciting part about real estate.
It is exciting.
I mean, one of them. Also, just homes are lovely.
Homes are lovely.
Sometimes. I toured one today that was pros and cons.
Well, we hope that helped. That's just some of the pieces there to should I wait, should I not? Hopefully we didn't give you more questions than answers to those questions. But if you do have any questions, you can definitely reach out to us. We're happy to get on the phone with you, set up a Zoom or meet in person to go over any of this stuff. So thank you for tuning in, and catch one of our other videos, and have a wonderful day.
See you later.